And finally, new rule, someone has to look into the puzzling paradox of why it is that rape jokes are completely unacceptable and unthinkable and totally out of bounds, but raped in prison jokes? Fucking hilarious! It's never a bad time to do the one about how if you drop the soap in the prison shower, don't bend over for it. And look, with all the talk now about Trump possibly going to jail, we've all been doing it. I mean, come on, it's Donald Trump. Given the opportunity, it's natural to want to imagine him getting fucked in the ass. I'm just saying maybe we shouldn't. If not for him, then for the nearly 2 million people behind bars at any given time in this country. That's more people than in 12 states. They should have their own 2 senators. And one can be Bob Menendez. America has a higher incarceration rate than Russia or China or almost any of the other evildoer countries we're always shitting our pants over. And yet, for some reason, everything at Walgreens is still locked behind plexiglass. But for some reason, Americans simply accept that not only do we lock up way more people, but that if you're a criminal of any kind, yes, sodomy is the appropriate comeuppance. They say if you want to survive prison, the first thing you do when you get there, what you have to do, is go up to the biggest, baddest guy and punch him in the face, which I find also works if you're a passenger on Delta. As a prisoner here in America, you'll either be alone in solitary, which drives you out of your mind, or completely on top of everybody else. Inmates in America are routinely forced to sleep on the floor and to fight for access to toilets and showers. Of the world's 25 most dangerous prisons, 4 are here in the U.S., Attica, San Quentin, the Supermax in Colorado, and the State Pen in New Mexico, where, for $45, oh yes, you can tour the cell block, where in 1980, 33 inmates were killed in one of the worst prison riots in history. So bring the kids, and don't forget that selfie in the gas chamber. Here in California, the prison at Dublin made headlines because it's where they sent Lori Loughlin after her college cheating scandal, but alas, it's closing. Why? Because the rape club that the guards had going was so impervious and ingrained, it was easier just to shutter the whole place. And prison in America is a place that forces the people in it, forces them to become racists. If you're black, you're with the brothers. If you're white, you have to join the Aryan skinheads. There's no, oh, leave me out of it. I like everybody. Let's just all go get coexist tattoos on our knuckles. No. I mean, what kind of society is cool with all this? We call them correctional facilities, but that's like calling the NFL a brain development program. And look, I'm not saying that it's not okay to lock people up. It is, of course it is. Diddy does it all the time. But it's not okay to deliberately violate the 8th Amendment's prohibition of cruel and unusual punishment. Fake tough guys think, hey, if prison's bad enough, it'll incentivize people to stay out of trouble after they get out. But they're wrong. It actually does the opposite. Within a year of release, around 40% of prisoners are rearrested. Within 10 years, it's 82%. And I don't think they want back in because they missed the toilet wine. If we're trying to make inmates into criminals for life, it's working. Because prison is like LinkedIn for lowlifes. You can't beat the networking. It's a taxpayer-funded criminal mentorship program. But here's the thing, around 95% of all inmates eventually do get out. So the question becomes, who do we want returning to society? Some hapless broke dude goes in for selling drugs or passing a bad check, and a few years later he comes out a sexual predator with white power written on his neck. And we all sort of just accept that, like, well, that's how prison works. You go in bad and you come out worse. If you're lucky when you get out, we'll let you work the tilt-a-whirl at the carnival or date Britney Spears. Jesus. It almost makes stealing catalytic converters not worth it. But it doesn't have to be this way. We could change. There are even places in the world that offer a model as to what that would look like. Norway's recidivism rate is 20%. Prisoners there do yoga, they learn a trade, there's a playground for the kids when they visit, and the guards aren't maniacs who failed the police psych exam. And it's a place that looks less like our prisons and more like what you'd find on an American college campus, only, of course, with less anti-Semitism. Of course, the big difference is that, unlike here, Scandinavian countries don't have private, for-profit prisons. That's what we have here. And corporations, it turns out, don't run prisons to improve society. They run them to make money, which means putting more people in the system, the more prisoners, the more profit. This is why they lobby Congress for 3 strikes rules and keeping weed illegal. They don't want them rehabilitated. They want return customers.